You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, it's Charge and Hayner representing Zoom the TBT, and tonight we're talking about our bracket reaction show. We're going to go through and zoom quite quickly through all four regions. Vince, how exciting was today, man?
Yeah, today was fantastic. It was great to see the buzz in the chat. So anyone who was watching in the YouTube channel, fantastic. The buzz was high. I think there was a few surprises, a few things that were expected, but I think at the end of the day, everyone was just really excited to have the TBT back to a full 64 and get those brackets released, because now it's a sprint. July 16th is the first games, is going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, so hype about this. It's really cool. So we're going to go through all the regions. We actually have a guest from every region. We scheduled one before. We decided to make this a 4-pack of some really good teams. And we're going to start in Wichita, actually, oddly enough, because we've got a pretty interesting bracket here. So we missed a couple things. There's one place we missed. Actually, we didn't miss any teams here. We got all these teams, actually. Never mind. I've seen.
Yeah, no, we're 16 on this one. Yeah, no, we're 16 for 16 on this one. So, yeah, pretty much money. The big thing is the Everline drive. So, obviously, anyone who watched the bracketology show yesterday, we had Florida TNT number 1, Everline number 4. So that was the big thing. And to be honest with you, I almost switched it to Everline because I knew TBT was going to do it. I, think that TNT is still the best talent in Wichita, but I just had a feeling. Everline's had a lot of recent success and a lot of history and pretty good following in the TBT community, so can't argue too much with it with Everline. And like I said, in a few minutes we'll get over to the Florida TNT guys and they'll tell us why they made a big mistake.
Yeah, that will be our guest in just a minute. We're going to bring on Terry and Iren from TNT in just a second. But looking at this, I will say this, looking at the bracket, a couple of my own thoughts too, is like, I don't see a lot of separation 1 through 6. What I see on this roster is 6 number 1 seeds rolling. So I don't see a big separation. We agree TNT probably has the best roster, but you can make arguments for any of those 6 to be it. So really, it's a question of who has the best path. Charge, one last minute thought before we go to TNT. What path was done the least favorite of our 6 contenders? Like, who had the worst path, do you think, or path to get?
I think Team Arkansas has the toughest path that we're looking at here. This is a team that's got Jalen Barford and Dusty Hannas, and I think these guys, obviously Corey was a big play if that would have come up and came on a little bit, but obviously they're in a tough 3 versus 6 versus ALS. I think the team from Fort Worth is going to be a tough team. They've all played together, won the NIT. I think those are just some really tough matchups there from that perspective. And obviously if they get by Fort Wayne there with an ALS, then you're going to be aftershocks in the home crowd. So it just looks like a tough road for Arkansas. They're going to be ready for it. Keith has his team ready to go. They'll be training camping. So, hopefully I'm wrong, but, I just think they got some challenges ahead of them versus where they thought they would be right now. I
100% agree. Like, if you're going to have basically 6 number 1s, whoever has to play one of the co-number 1s that that top 6 early, which is your 3-6 and 5-4, is going to be a hard time. By the way, shout out to the Arkansas Fort Worth Funk matchup, an old Southwest Conference guys, a Southerner. I love that. I love the fact that Fort Worth Funk actually looks like a Pimp Nate slipback became a logo. That cracks me the hell up. So shout out to the Boondocks infused insane logo there. But I guess we've wasted enough of people's time. We're going to talk a little bit about bracket some more, but let's welcome our guests. So we have Terry Hughes and Iren Rainey of Florida TNT with us tonight. Gentlemen, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing exceptionally well, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing excellent. This is an exciting day.
So look, thanks a million for having us. We're super excited.
Thanks for coming on. And by the way, look, we both had you as number 1. And again, I don't see a separation. So 1 through 6, I think it's completely fair anywhere to put you in there. We had you as number 1, but we see 6 number 1s. So how off was the tournament putting you at number 5?
5.
Or 5 off.
I think I'll have to agree with our GM, Terry Hughes, on that.
Well, I'm only agreeing with you guys. I think you guys are probably the smartest, most intelligent, brightest podcast guys in the world.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
I'd be stupid not to agree with you guys.
I totally agree with you there, Terry. So we'll pay you the $5 when we see you in Dayton for the compliments.
Okie dokie.
But
Exactly.
Yeah, so 5, like I said, a little bit of a shock. I think anywhere in there, even 2, 3, 4, but Aftershocks was going to get that courtesy 2 or 3. So, so tell us a little bit about the team that you put together, Terry. Who's on the team, and then we'll get into Iren for a little more detail about what they bring to the table.
We're pretty much a guard heavy team, and that even saying that is kind of misleading, because you look at our 2 main guards, Dominique Jones and Antonio Blakeman, as well as Devon Akun Purcell. All 3 of those guys are 6'5", and they both average. Well, 2 of the 3 average double-digit rebounds. So it's we're led by those 3 guys, as well as Chris Warren, Matt Williams, Brandon Robinson. Okay. Those guys are the strength of our team.
Absolutely.
And even with saying that, we can say those guys are the strength, but, if we did not have those guys and we had to go with 6 different guards, I could be sitting here telling you that Keith Clanton, Tristan Spurlock, and Drew Smith are the strength of our team, and we still expect to go along with those guys. Because all those guys are super talented, super athletic, they can all carry a team.
Absolutely. I mean, look at this roster too. You've got Blakely, Warren, Dominique Jones. You've got Boynton. I mean, you've got Spurlock. You've got a lot of
I forgot Kenny Boynton. Golly, geez.
You've got a lot of how Florida guy going to fit?
Must be a luxury.
The pride of Florida. So Coach Rainey, you've got all these switchable wings, and we all know, watching the NBA now, watching how basketball's evolved. Switchable guys between 6'4" and 6'8" are basically the lifeblood of how NBA works. I mean, you see the Clippers playing a 5-wing lineup most of the time.
Right.
How do you plan on unleashing all these long wings and guards you have defensively to get easy baskets?
To be honest with you, man, we got a great group of basketball players. We got a group of pros. And whenever you have a group of pros, you have a different mentality. They've all been through the trenches. They've obviously exceeded expectations and made it to a super high level. And, the goal for us within every single practice is having them commit to understanding how imperative it is to get after it on the defensive end, because we're so talented offensively. I think one of the main keys to our success is making sure that each and every one of our guys gets after it on the defensive end. And one of the things that I preach, and, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to get into the TBT last year. But one of the things that we preach from last year up until now is playing for a bigger purpose and playing for somebody or something outside of ourselves individually. So I think once we get these guys in the gym and help them understand the overall outcome that we're looking for, the ultimate goal, I think that, once they commit to playing for each other, we'll be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that, we're in a situation where we're not going to be competing. We're going to be dominated throughout the TBT tournament. And that's what we're really preaching to our guys. And that would be the point of emphasis as we move forward.
Yeah, so you mentioned last year's bubble. So they did an article on you guys this year where the writer said you guys were the most talented team in the TBT last year, but didn't make the round of 24. You got the 5 this year versus
Terry laughing.
I know, Terry. I mean, what do we got to do? What does Florida TNT need to do to put some respect on their name this year?
Win.
Whole thing.
A man of few words. I like the shortness of the answer. That is a good answer.
Winning will serve all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we don't win, we're just another fly-by-night talented bunch of guys. As one guy I saw earlier happened to mention on a post, are we pretty much this year's money team?
Ooh. Who said that? Call him out. I didn't. I was working hard today. I didn't even see that.
The starts early this evening.
He and I know this was probably about a week back. And he and I talked, and we came to an understanding.
This year's money team. Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah.
The slander begins early tonight.
Where were this year's money team?
Well, let's hope not. I mean,
I think this apples and oranges. And I think Iren
Mhm.
framed that up pretty good. With the guys you have, you know these guys. You're living locally. You play together. Don't live together, but live in the same area. You guys know each other. So I think it's apples and oranges. And I think Iren hit it. Going into training camp, we're going to build that cohesion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd agree
It's
with
a
that.
month.
I would agree with that. So real quick though, talking about winning, like they didn't really do you any favors. What ended up happening? Looking at this bracket again, and you got a pretty interesting draw because the Kimchi Express have been largely a team that people haven't needed to take seriously in the past. It used to be just a bunch of guys, and they've improved already to the point they're on the trajectory of being one of those teams like Eberline Drive that goes from a fun bunch of guys to real pros. And you may be getting them on the upswing. Like I think you guys are the favorite against Kimchi, obviously, because you have a more talented roster, but like you can't take them lightly. Like how do you plan to attack the Express?
I'll be honest with you. Our focus is solely on our guys and on our own execution. Once again, for us, we're playing for a bigger purpose. I think a lot of our guys were extremely disappointed about us not being able to get into the TBT last year, even though we were one of the most talented teams. And so now the purpose is a lot bigger. I think the cohesiveness is a lot stronger. I think guys have already bought in just through some small conversations that Terry and I have had with most of our guys. And I think they understand our philosophy, understand our mission. And so our focus isn't on other teams, but it's just making sure that we commit to the right habits that help us become successful at the highest level and just making sure that we're executing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Terry, obviously we got, about 3 weeks or so to go until we get to Wichita. So from a GM perspective, you feel pretty good where you're at, or could we possibly see some additions? Obviously, you have some pretty good depth on your team. So I think the team runs really, really deep. So what's your kind of strategy as a GM right now? What's on your mind?
I've never stopped looking to try and get better. But it's just from looking at our roster, if we were to add someone, they would have to be elite. We're not just going to add someone for the sake of adding someone. That's not where we're at right now. And not only would they have to be elite, they would have to buy into the mission and the goals that we have set forth as of right now. And with that being said, it looks like we're probably set with where we are, but you never know. If Dwayne Wade were to call me up tomorrow and said, "Hey, I want to play with you guys,"
He's not.
He would still need. Hey, listen, he would still need to be interviewed. We would still need to know what was on his mind.
Yeah, we would need to talk with him, and
if Dwayne Wade, we still need to know what was on his mind.
Yeah, what's really cool is I know you guys, between Terry and Iren, and you guys kind of, all come to an agreement on who's playing for your team. So it's either we all agree this guy's right for the team, or we all agree, if we all can't agree he's right, then he's not right. So I think that's where some of that cohesion and what's going to help you be successful come Wichita.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So guys, real quick, it's interesting because we talk about the way these teams are structured, and there is this sort of idea with the non-alumni teams to sort of have a story behind the team. And it's interesting because you guys are light on narrative. You guys are just a really, really good team. So it's sort of interesting is like, how are you going to get the fans behind you in Wichita? How are you going to rally the crowd? Because you're going to be facing a fan favorite in Kimchi that has a compelling narrative. You're going to have to get the crowd off your backs a little. How are you going to win over, like gladiators, the room, basically? I assume style of play is going to be a big factor.
Execution. I feel like execution is one of those things that always wins, and our guys look great when they're executing. And let's not let this go on. We have an insatiable desire to win this TBT tournament. So whether the fans are behind us or whether they're for somebody else, our ultimate objective is to go out there and win. And the reality of it is people like winners. And if they don't like winners, they respect winners. So as long as we're out there executing and doing what we're supposed to do, that's the main focus of everything that we're trying to get accomplished is execution.
If you look back, you know, and I don't really like to refer to overseas elite, but they weren't a very well-liked team.
They weren't. They weren't.
They were not. And
folks were hoping they were going to lose. That's one of those ones people were rooting for them to lose.
Yeah, I remember standing behind their bench and listening to those guys and watching them talk, listening to them as they walked off the court. And they really cared little about whether anyone liked them. You know, and I thought that was a mistake, but they won. And TBT and everyone else bent over backwards for those guys.
Absolutely.
You know? So
if they get that first big run for Florida TNT, you guys have always been competitive, but I think a nice Final Four run will kind of cement it. And I think that is a void, you know, that there's that one powerhouse team like overseas elite that people are expecting and they love to watch because they respect their good game, but they love to hate them too because 4 wins or 4 years in a row, 25 wins. People want to see them fall. So we need some of that. That was fun.
You know, it's like the Cowboys or Florida State Seminoles.
No, the Cowboys, we're talking about teams that win, Terry, teams that win.
I said,
well, recent.
I'm talking the old Cowboys now.
Yeah, Terry's probably a bandwagon Buccaneer fan now.
Oh, man.
Yeah. No, man. No, I've been a Buccaneer fan since 78.
Yeah. That's
78.
That's a long time.
I actually saw Doug Williams' first game with the Buccaneers. Right?
Man, all right.
That was in
a big deal,
78. That was a big deal, man.
There's one more important question I got to get to, though, aside from the Buccaneers having some recent success. But I know, Terry, I saw us online talking a little bit. So you've got Antonio Blakeney, you've got Tristan Spurlock, both Charge guys. I thought we had some kind of agreement. This is now the Florida Charge. So when are we going to see the updated logo? When are we going to see this work itself out?
Well, I haven't dropped it on my guys yet. You're kind of blowing my hustle here, but you know, next year, we'll be known as the Florida Charge.
I love it.
That's a good time for the video to actually.
You'll get a number 1 seat for sure. Number 1,
or better yet, Charge Florida TNT.
That's right.
There we go. On that note, Florida TNT coach Iren Rainey and GM Terry Hughes, the number 1 seed, seeded 5th on purely technical grounds in Wichita. Looking forward to seeing them against Kimchi Express, 2 friends of the pod in a fun game. Gentlemen, thanks for swinging by.
Thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure.
All right, fellas. Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hater. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.